Hello students, this is Vikas Mahajan and I welcome all of you in our Madhvi institution for the subject of foundation course SYBCom semester 3. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 1, human rights violations. In this unit there are some points that we are going to discuss: violation of rights of women, violation of rights of children, violation of rights of minorities, violation of rights of disabled, violation of the rights of the elderly people. Let's begin. Violation of the rights of women. In India, women are the most vulnerable, and this happens in almost every caste, religion, and race. There is discrimination both for being a low caste and for being a woman. Some social customs and traditions, beliefs, and cultural values accord secondary status to women. The only way the change in the lives of women can come is through the change in the general mindsets of the people. With several movements fighting for the rights of women, the women today are found to be economically more independent than what they were in the years. In general, the problems faced by women are as follows. Number 1, violence is almost universal problem of women. Violence against women is not a new phenomenon in India. Women in Indian society have been victims of ill treatment, humiliation, torture, and exploitation for as long as written records of social organization and family life are available. These records are replete with incidents of abduction, rape, murder, and torture of women. Second one, economic exploitation. Women workers are given much work but are paid less wages or salary, especially in the unorganized sector. Equal pay for equal work remains only a slogan. Equal Remuneration Act 1976 has proved to be a dead letter in this regard. There are also sufficient instances of such exploitation even in the organized sector. Third one is discrimination and decline in the female population. Normally, in the population of any country, male-female ratio remains more or less the same, that is 50:50. In India, as the census reports reveal, female population has been steadily declining ever since 1901. The male preference had led to the abuse of technology. Thousands of unwanted female children are killed at the stage of fetus itself. It is said that in India, out of 12 million female children born every year, around 25% of them die before they attain the age of 15. Of the children who die every year, about 3 lakh female children, that is more than the number of male children, die for one or the another reason. Of the children which die every year in India, the 6th child dies due to gender discrimination. Next one, that is we are going to discuss violation of the rights of children. Etymologically, a child is any young human being below the age of full physical development or below the legal age of majority. It is only when the right environment is provided that children grow into good and successful human beings. However, today the times have changed and children from all strata of the society face severe difficulties in the form of excessive exposure to media, violence in all forms beginning right from their homes, fear and lack of trust. Following are issues that surround children's lives and their freedoms is endangered. Number one is lack of access to education. Education, which is believed to be the basic right of every child in the world, has been denied in most part of India. This is very prominently seen throughout the country, irrespective of the government attempts to promote education to children. Second one, poverty and malnutrition. According to the World Health Organization, that is WHO, globally 30% of children under 5 are estimated to be stunted and 18% have low weight for height and 43 million children are overweight. Optimal breastfeeding could save the lives of 1.5 million children under 5 every year. Nearly 9 million children die every year from preventable diseases and infections. The largest killer being diarrhea disease. There are over 2 billion cases of diarrhea disease every year and is the leading cause of malnutrition amongst children under 5. Third one is violence and child abuse. According to UNICEF, violence against children can be physical and mental abuse and injury, neglect or negligent treatment, exploitation and sexual abuse. Violence may take place in homes, schools, orphanages, residential care facilities, on the street, in the workplace, in prisons, and in places of detention. Such violence can affect the normal development of a child, impairing their mental, physical, and social being. In extreme cases, abuse of a child can result in death. Child abuse has many forms: physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, and exploitation. Any of these that are potentially or actually harmful to a child's health, survival, dignity, and development are abuse. This definition is derived from the WHO. Fourth one is child labor. India is sadly the home to the largest number of child laborers in the world. The census found an increase in the number of child laborers from 11.28 million in 1991 to 12.59 million in 2001. MV Foundation in Andhra Pradesh found nearly 4 lakh children, mostly girls between 7 and 14 years of age, toiling for 14 to 16 hours a day in cotton seed production across the country, of which 90% are employed in Andhra Pradesh. 40% of the labor in a precious stone cutting sector is children. NGOs have discovered the use of child laborers in mining industry in Bellary district in Karnataka, in spite of a harsh ban on the same. In urban areas, there is a high employment of children in the zari and the embroidery industry. Poverty and lack of social security are the main causes of child labor. Next point that we are going to discuss is violation of the rights of the minorities. India is a multilingual and multi-religious country. Indian society is pluralistic in character from the religious and other points of view. Since a very long time, people belonging to various religious communities has been living together in this country. Though the majority of the people living in this land are Hindus, that is 82.41%. The recent figures may have the difference. Though the majority of the people living in this land are Hindu, that is 82.41%, people belonging to other religion communities such as Muslims 11.67%, Christian 2.32%, Sikhs 2%, Buddhist 0.77%, Jains 0.41% and others 0.43% are also living along with the Hindus by enjoying similar rights and opportunities. By virtue of their numerical strength, the Hindus constitute the majority, while the rest of the religious communities come under what is known as religious minorities. Regarding the concept of minority in the Indian context, it can be said that the term has not been properly defined anywhere in the Indian Constitution, but minority status has been conferred on many groups. Number one, according to Article 29 of the Constitution, any group living within the jurisdiction of India is entitled to preserve and promote its own language, script or literature and culture. Number two, Article 30 states that a minority group, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institution of their choice. Problems of religious minorities, racial, religious, ethnic, linguistic and other minorities are subject to some or the other problems everywhere. The four main problems which they normally face are: number one, problem of prejudice and discrimination. Sharing a common nationality with the majority in the offing, it becomes absolutely essential for the minorities to identify with them. There are several occasions where their behavior is observed so as to check on their affiliations. This hinders their progress in the long run. Second problem is problem of preserving their distinct social and cultural life. Several customs and cultures are under scrutiny at times and lead to controversies of all types of, giving opportunities to aggravate the problem of minorities. Third one is problem of protection. Need for security and protection is very often felt by the minorities, especially in times of communal violence, caste conflicts, observance of festivals and religious functions on a mass scale. Minority groups often seek police protection. Government in power also finds it difficult to provide such a protection to all the members of the minorities. It is highly expensive also. State government which fail to provide such protection are always criticized. And fourth one is problem of communal tensions and riots. Communal tensions and riots have been incessantly increasing since independence. Whenever the communal tensions and the riots takes place, for whatever reason, minority interests get threatened. Fears and anxieties become widespread. It becomes a tough task for the government in power to restore the confidence in them. After that, the next point is violation of the rights of the disabled. According to the World Health Organization, disability is any restriction or lack of ability to perform in a manner or within the range considered normal for a human being. Around 400 million disabled persons live in the developing world. Most often they are poorest. Poverty is the most important cause of disability. Every year millions of people go below the poverty line. This makes them more vulnerable to disability. The WHO estimates that worldwide there are 1.5 million blind children, mainly in Asia and Africa. In developing countries, up to 70% of blindness is either preventable or treatable. The WHO also estimates that around 50% of the disabling hearing impairment is also preventable. In 1995, this has affected a total of 120 million people worldwide. It is estimated that at least 10% of the developing world's population is disabled in one way or the other. The disabled are deprived of all opportunities for social and economic development. The basic facilities like health, education and employment are denied to them. The state infrastructure is grossly inadequate and ill functioning where disabled are concerned. It is estimated that 40 million of more than 100 million children out of school have disabilities. Around 70% of the disabled are unemployed. Millions are in the verge of collapsing due to severe disabilities. People with physical disabilities at least get noticed, but the others with mental illness are just written off. Along with the physical problem, they also bear the brunt of social ostracism and stigma. The specific problems encountered by the disabled people are: number one, access. Accessibility is fundamental to realization and enjoyment of any right. Though the earlier definition of access included only physical access and took only architectural barriers into consideration, the modern day analysis of access is more holistic in nature. It encompasses within itself accessibility to quality education, information and communication, entertainment and technology. Emanating from the Beijing Conference and the Disabilities Act, this understanding of access provides the scope for not only full personality development but also participation in social and political life. Access to public transport, toilets, hospitals, government offices, public spaces like parks, educational institutions, places of worship are still inaccessible to people. Still, whatever interventions are made are restricted to the physical access. The areas like education, teaching aids, books in braille, and interpreters for the hearing and speech impaired are still not available to large sections of the disabled. Second one is employment. According to the census 2002, disabled people constitute at least 6% of our population. Still, their basic needs for social security, individual dignity, and meaning full employment remain unmet. They are at the mercy of the government and the civil society, which have a lackadaisical attitude towards them. The Disability Act 1995 provides for 3% reservation in all categories of jobs in government sector. Though it has been 3 years to this notification, its implementation is still not complete. Third one is education. There are around only 3,000 special schools in India today. Of them, only 900 are schools for the hearing impaired, 400 for children with visual impairment, 700 for those with locomotor disability, and 1,000 for the intellectually disabled. More than 50,000 children with disability are enrolled in the integrated education for children, a government sponsored program. Only a few schools have special provisions like resource rooms, special aids, and special teachers. This is restricted only to big cities. Since there are no special schools or special education services in rural India, children with special needs either have to make do with the regular schools in the village or go without education. Pre-vocational and vocational training is provided only in specialized institutions and in select cities. Number 4 is discrimination. Persons with disability suffer from both social and material disability. The society, which is caught up with uniformity, cannot see people with differences with the same eye. There is lot of stigma attached to disability, which hinders their normal social interaction. The other discrimination they face is in terms of access to places, public buildings, public transport system, and other places of importance are not accessible to them. The employment opportunities available to them are also very low. They suffer the triple jeopardy of being disabled, poor, and stigmatized. And the last point of this lecture is violation of the rights of the elderly in India. Elderly or old age consists of the ages nearing or surpassing the average lifespan of human beings. The boundary of old age cannot be defined exactly because it does not have the same meaning in all societies. Government of India adopted national policy on older persons in January 1999. The policy defines senior citizen or elderly as a person who is of age 60 years or above. Out of every 10 elderly couples in India, more than 6 are forced by their children to leave their homes with no place to go and all hopes lost. The elderly have to resort to old age homes which do not guarantee first class treatment. Every other day, we see news of parents being beaten up by their children, parents and in laws being forced to do household chores, being made to live in a small dungeon like rooms, their property being forcefully taken over by over-ambitious children. According to NGOs, incidences of elderly couples being forced to sell their houses are very high. Some elderly people have also complained that in case of property dispute, they feel more helpless when their wives side with their children. Many of them suffer in silence as they fear humiliation or are too scared to speak up. According to them, a phenomenon called grand dumping is becoming common in urban areas these days as children are being increasingly intolerant of their parents' health problems. After a certain age, health problem begins to crop up, leading to losing control over one's body, even not recognizing own family owing to Alzheimer's are common in old age. It is then children began to see their parents as burden. It is these parents who at times wander out of their homes or are thrown out. Some dump their old parents or grandparents in old age homes and don't even come to visit them anymore. Delhi has nearly 11 lakh senior citizens, but there are only 4 governments run homes for them and 31 by NGOs, private agencies and charitable trusts. The facilities are lacking in government run homes. So in this way, today we have discussed the rest of the points which were not covered in the first lecture. I hope that you might have understood everything clearly. We will meet again in the next lecture. Till then, take care, bye, and thank you very much, all of you.